I started to notice that the way that I interacted with the world, with my assigned gender, wasn't really in line with what I wanted. Probably around 12 or 13, or who I am, I should say, not how I wanted, but who I am. Yeah, around 12 or 13, I started to really explore the idea of being trans. Half of them were conversations that ended up being, oh, you're not really trans, you're not really a girl, that's definitely not real, and then the other half being, I have no idea what it is to be trans. I've never heard of a trans person, but I'll support you whatever you need. And it, even amongst colleagues, it was very kind of 50-50, fellow students. And I don't think I don't think an adult received the information positively for about 2 or 3 years of me being out as trans.
And how old were you when you started having those conversations?
16 or so, yeah. I think for me, there's this analogy that often gets passed around in trans community, about how, being trans, being gender diverse is like wearing a sweater, right? We all have that one ugly Christmas sweater that's made out of scratchy wool that you put it on for precisely long enough for the family photo, and then you take it off because it's awful and you hate it and you need to never wear that thing again, right? That's how it feels to me to exist not as the woman I am today, right? To exist in my assigned gender at birth, it feels like I'm wearing that awful scratchy sweater. Is it gonna be, am I gonna die because I'm wearing a sweater? No. Am I going to hate every single moment of wearing that sweater and I can't wait to be done these photos? Absolutely, right? And for me, that's a big part of it, right? When I first started, when people first started using the correct pronouns for me, that was this moment of, oh, yay, it feels so good, right? Whereas the cis people I talk to, generally speaking, if you say the wrong pronouns, they're going to look at you funny and go, did you call me a boy? That's weird. I'm not a boy, And it's that same experience. It's that same thing of just intrinsically knowing, of just feeling it in your gut, right? And I think that's a common experience for most people. School, I sure dreaded every minute of it because I'm, of course, that student. But growing up queer under that system was, how do I say, not fun. Definitely it was terrifying and scary, and I was always worried for, who finds out and what happens, and am I going to be failed in my classes because of this, and all of that. So, yeah, it's not a time of my life I look back on super positively as being in school, especially in the Catholic system. A lot of watching my back and being very careful about how I spoke about myself or how I interacted with people. I joke about I'm now a digital privacy enthusiast because I learned how to keep myself private on the internet when I was young. And just a lot of, walking on eggshells, looking for the next opportunity in which somebody might find out, in which somebody might, use that information against me. I came out as queer in a sexuality way amongst peers in the beginning of high school, and my experience with that was death threats. It was, being excluded from groups. It was failing classes because teachers were, actively trying to prove to me that I wasn't actually gay. And so I knew that when I started coming out about gender stuff that I was not going to be safe, that I needed to be able to be self-sustainable before I could tell anybody. And so I was. I made myself able to have a place to go when I first started talking about transness, because I could not live at home and be out as trans. That would have not ended well. A coworker of mine here at Euro Pride the other day, yesterday after the news broke, we were chatting and they said to me, Ari, does this ever get easier? Does this work ever get easier? Do you eventually get desensitized to the feeling of being kicked in the gut when this kind of stuff happens? I've been doing this work for nearly a decade, and I just said, yeah, it sort of gets easier, it sort of gets harder. The one thing that I've learned, and the way that I put it is, the thing that I've learned is that every time it gets easier to have a little cry about it, be scared for a minute, and then put on the boss babe pants and go out there and get the work done. And I'm still terrified. I am still so scared for what 5 years from now looks like. Am I living in a province that 5 years from now I won't be able to legally use the washroom? Am I living in a province where 5 years from now I will have to fear the fact that I did this interview, right? Because this interview is going to exist in the public consciousness for a long time, time. Does that mean that I need to go change my face and my hair and my name in 5 years because I'm worried for my like physical safety, you know? But over the years of kind of doing this work, the more that I'm able to just say, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to stand up and somebody's got to go out there and say something, and I'm not afraid to, you know? I am afraid for the implications, but I won't let my fear control me, and I'm going to get out there and do it anyways because we need to, right?